Just gone 7 AM. The race is at 8. It's the flat stage, the new stage in France. And I'm looking to undertake the race fasted on just the amino acids, cold coffee and water. Just going to show you actually just how beautiful it is outside here. Now the reason being for that is that I ate plenty of carbs throughout the day yesterday, so the muscle stores are going to be full of glycogen. It was also a rest day yesterday. And by not eating carbohydrates before the race and training hard, and also drinking a cold coffee, amino acids and water, I'm going to spike the cortisol and adrenaline, start the process of converting body fat into energy, and by not having the carbs I don't spike up the insulin, which in turn dampens down the process of converting body fat into energy because the body burns carbs in preference to fat. It's a relatively short race, it's only 40 kilometers, and as I say, it's on the flat, so it's worth a little experiment. And there they are. Match made in heaven.
Welcome to Saturday morning on Bike Racing Without Mercy and the Casse Pates. Casse Pats. Need to invest a bit more. Oh dear. Mais oui, warming up the pain face.
Well, in the context of Ed setting me a couple of hard threshold training sessions this week, I on the Monday, 2 minutes at 120% of FTP, straight into 8 minutes at 100%, repeating 3 times. And then on the Wednesday, 30 minutes at 100% of FTP, which I did during the race up the Ford KOM and the climb to the radio tower. I guess it was therefore fitting that today's race turned basically into a 1 hour FTP. On the Tap the Tour de France, on the amazing Casse Pats course, really enjoyed that. I put down average power of 290 watts, normalised of 294 watts, which is about 4.6 watts a kilogram. And for me, that's definitely the best power I've laid down over the hour, certainly since the appendicitis and the crash. And I guess that bodes well for the TT up Alpe d'Huez, le Grimpee Alpe d'Huez. And in honour of Le Tap the Tour de France on Zwift, the French theme for muscle glycogen replenishment continues. The carb source of the day, pain au raisin and croissant. 50-50 split over there with Jane. Well, tomorrow's sweet spot training is going to be a long one, and the carbs to fuel it come courtesy of the French patisserie earlier, but also sushi this evening. Starting with a wakabi salad and the edamame, plenty of fibre, vitamins and minerals, but also a little bit of rosé wine. Why not? It is, after all, Saturday. And now for the main event. Quality carbs, lean protein, and very low in fat. Rainbow roll, spicy salmon roll. The only fat source is the avocado in a salmon, and that's omega-3 fats, which are great for heart health. So perfect food for fueling training and fueling recovery. Well, welcome to Sunday morning. And for me, a rare foray into the world of hot coffee. It occurred to me that I've never actually tried this TNT coffee that I normally mix cold with amino work capacity in its natural hot environment. So here we go. Yeah, that's okay. I probably had better hot. And I think on balance, I prefer it cold and with the dark cherry amino work capacity. But anyway, I digress. On the deck in about half an hour is going to be more of an endurance style sweet spot training. Very Ed Laverack. There's various different blocks, little bits of recovery in between, and obviously it's looking to prepare me for the 5,000 meters, 174 kilometers for La Marmotte. But additionally, I'm looking to also experiment with my on-bike nutrition. Now, as always, I want to start the ride fasted in order to encourage the process of fat loss. So my first bite in here just has the usual amino work capacity, water, and a little bit less of the TNT coffee, because obviously you've got some here. But then we move on to the fast digesting carbohydrates. It's got, I think, 44 grams of fast digesting carbs in there. So this little bidon has 2 scoops of that, 44 grams of carbs, a tiny little bit more of coffee in it, and obviously plenty of water, plus a little sprinkling of amino acids as well. The amino acids are helping prevent against the breakdown of muscle during the training. Additionally, and I'm going to experiment consuming these at 200 watts, a nice leisurely 200 watts, because I am new to eating on the bike. I'm going to have a couple of these during the training as well, just to get used to kind of the process of steering, having to brake, and think about doing more than one thing at once whilst eating, a very rare thing for me.
Well, hello old friend, it's been a while. Instantly, it's put a smile on my face. How good is that? So turning to this morning's training, basically in preparation for La Marmotte, it's a giant sweet spot session, starting with a 50-minute ramp all the way to 100% of FTP. We start at just shy of 70% of FTP, i.e. 210 watts, and build in 10-minute increments to 300 watts, i.e. 100% of FTP. Then 5 minutes recovery, after which we have 2 big blocks of 40 minutes at 83% of FTP, i.e. 250 watts. I'll probably have 3 to 5 minutes recovery between each, and I'm going to get on with it right now. Well, that was much harder than I thought it would be. That first 50-minute ramp, which I did undertake fasted, was proper difficult. I reckon I was, though, in the correct watt range throughout. And that final 10 minutes at 300 watts was super hard. I probably fell a little bit short of the 300 in the first 6-7 minutes or so, and you saw the final 2.5 minutes where I was certainly at or above the 300 watts. I then took 5 minutes recovery, carbs up a little bit, and hit the 40 minutes at sweet spot, where I was definitely in the probably 240 to 270 watts, therefore probably averaging out about 250, I'd guess. Then 3 minutes recovery, a bit more carbs taken on, and a final 40-minute block, and there I definitely struggled. I was probably in the 190 to 260 range. I was all over the place. I was properly tired, feeling the effects definitely of that 1 hour FTP Zwift race yesterday. Overall, probably averaging out at about 210 to 220 watts, but very happy to have banked that. That was 2 hours 10 minutes of hard effort in the sweet spot range, compared to 1 hour 51 minutes for Ed's Epic Tempo version 2, and I did it in just the 3 blocks rather than 4, taking less recovery overall. So I'll be interested to see what the average power and normalized power is when I get back to the flat. Now time to see if I can get this bike cleaned up here. Hopefully the hose pipes are on, and head home for a little bit of Sunday lunch. And of course, I lured the Lego orange and cardamom bun. Well, lovely though it is to ride outdoors, especially on a day like today, one of the things that I personally very much value about indoor cycling with the Watt bike is not having to undertake any maintenance whatsoever at the end of the ride. However, at least here at the velo circuit, the water, well, it's on tap, and also, happily, I remembered to bring all my cleaning gear to get the muck off, and also the lube. Now help me out here. In terms of lube, I'm following the advice from James May from Top Gear. He knows a thing or two about all things mechanical, and he says with lube, less is more, and I'm very much an advocate of that. So here's the group set looking nice and clean. I'm going to put the lube on very sparingly in a second, and here is the Colnago looking beautiful and clean. Going to get my skates on because I am super hungry, and I'm looking forward to that orange and cardamom bun. Well, it's now 3:30 in the afternoon, and in all honesty, I'm feeling withered. I definitely undercooked the amount of carbohydrates needed to fuel that kind of effort. It was basically, including getting there and getting back from the velo circuit, 106 kilometers, just under 1,200 meters of climbing. And all I really have consumed today, other than the amino acids and coffee, is 90 grams of carbohydrates, which is about 360 calories worth.
definitely a learning point. In terms of the fueling on the bike, could have gone better. I'm wearing a fair bit of one of the gels down the sleeve here. Got a fair bit on the leg and the shoes and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, work in progress, we'll call it. Turning to the training itself, it was decent actually. That first 50-minute pyramid, the final 10 minutes, I did get to just shy of 300 watts, 294 watts for 10 minutes, 300 watts for 5 minutes. That was all right. 5 minutes recovery, and then in the next 41-minute sweet spot block, average 240 watts, which was decent again. 3 minutes recovery, probably not enough, definitely not enough carbs by then. And in a final block of 41 minutes at sweet spot, I averaged 218 watts. So in terms of watts per kilogram, first block of 50 minutes, average 260, I don't know, that's 4.2 watts a kilogram. Second block, average 240, I don't know, 3.85, 3.9 watts a kilogram. Final block of 41 minutes, averaging, I don't know, 3.45 watts a kilogram. So a fair bit of work to do on both the fitness and endurance front, but also the nutrition. Tomorrow's a rest day for recovery, obviously, and the nutrition is a big part of the recovery. I've had the green drink, and protein is on the agenda right now. That's what I'd like to talk about. Obviously, in any training, what we're doing is breaking down the muscle tissue. It also creates a lot of stress. You've got cortisol, adrenaline, free radicals. And so the greens helps the process of calming the body down, providing the kind of nutrients to boost the immune system, all that kind of thing. But the protein delivers the amino acids that are hopefully going to rebuild the muscles a little bit stronger and more powerfully than before the training began. Into that, I also mix a load of blueberries because they deliver vitamin C. And as I touched on with the greens drink, vitamin C is really good in terms of calming the body down, getting rid of all that cortisol and adrenaline, but also giving a boost to the immune system. So the protein shake is going to be a little bit bigger than normal. The hippie milk goes in. It's almond today, but I also like the coconut. I'm using the Huel vegan protein. Protein is from pea, brown rice and flaxseed. Each scoop gives 20 grams of protein, so I'm going to go for a scoop and a half to give myself 30 grams. That's more than enough to deliver the right amount of amino acids to repair the muscle. And then in go the blueberries for the vitamin C. And what I need to do here is avoid undercutting and short shifting on the hippie milk, because otherwise it goes all gloopy. This is a biggie. It's all right, Jane.
It appears to be higher than the maximum.
It's okay. I'm next. Right, you shake it up to avoid it sticking to the sides. And I am seriously hungry, so I'm hoping it can be consumed quite quickly. Yes, it's a nice consistency. You can see that there. I've got to say, personally, I prefer the Huel vanilla in terms of it's the black edition Huel. It's a bit lower calorie than the other Huel type. But in terms of black edition, I prefer the vanilla flavour. The chocolate's all right, and it's good with the blueberries. And I've been doing okay on this, actually. I've been enjoying it. So going to stick with it for a while longer. Lord the Lego, I mentioned that I was looking forward to orange and cardamom bun. Jane has been back to the Little Bread Peddler, and we're going to try some of the other recommendations that people have given. There's the cinnamon one, and the orange and cardamom. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Well, speaking of recovery, vitamin D for free, and orange and cardamom bun. Perfection. Lord, oh Lord, thank you so much.